Tonya, look what came in today.
Ah, you got one. They're good, aren't they?
I got it to take it to the show.
Yes. That is a really great thing to have with you when you go.
Yeah.
Is it a giant loop?
It's
It's
a 5 times giant loop that AutoFry
Wow.
carries now. Yeah. I got some for myself for my what I'm teaching so I can show students on camera things up close. And it's just easier to use than your 10 times loop because it's bigger, but you can also take it to shows to look at all of your stones and things.
I need that for everyday use.
You know, I went on Amazon because it doesn't come with any kind of, container. So
Yeah,
I
it
ordered
doesn't.
a couple of containers to try to see if I can get one that works. But I was so excited because I put some stones underneath it, and standing in a booth, that's going to be perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
everyone's
And
gonna want one. We should
remind me to
bring
talk
a
about
couple
that.
up, a couple dozen, and we can just sell them out of your bag.
Remind me to talk about that because that's one of the things that people
Yes.
don't realize. And the lighting is not great. And yeah, so remind me to talk about that.
Yeah, this is one of Tanya recommends. She's got all these great tips and tricks.
Joan, can you put a link to it in the chat for everyone?
Yeah, when we talk about that, I will definitely.
Fun.
But she's got all these really fun tools and things that you've never heard of that really make your life easier. So I wake up every day and I go to the Facebook page to see what I'm going to buy today.
My students love me and hate me because their pocketbooks are getting emptier and emptier.
But that's what you take the class for. I mean, you speed up our time to be able to be productive. Like I was talking about that well, I won't go into that, but I was talking about something to my husband. I said, I would have never found that. And, when it came in, it was like, oh, look how easy that is.
I think it's because I have, I owned a jewelry tool and supply company for 10 years. So I carried over 3,800 different tools. And when we did inventory, it was 100,000 items I had to count every December 31st and January 1st. And so I got a lot of tools from interesting places that you would never buy tools from, like different industries that people don't use for jewelry. So then it just makes you be creative about finding tools that fit the purpose better than jewelry tools.
Exactly. No, that's why I take your classes. Well worth it. Very expensive, but well worth it.
Just don't look at your Amazon charges.
No.
I really like the double stick tape that you recommended. That's kind of that squishy, super heavy duty tape. I've used that several times. That stuff is amazing. I use it, to like help with setting small bezels.
Yep.
So it's great.
I just made 30 of those yesterday for students. It's just sad. Cutting acrylic on my bandsaw, cutting the nano tape.
No.
Cut myself with an X-Acto knife.
Oh no. Let's see here, 6:51. I wonder how many people will actually be live on here versus waiting for the recording to come out.
And it's going to be on the YouTube, right? Your YouTube channel?
Yeah,
okay, good. That's what I've been telling everybody.
Yeah.
Great. Should take a picture of this because it looks really funny. That's my view.
Nice.
Looks like a
professional. Yeah.
So much for a bench, right? Gets
Love
lost
it.
in the mix.
Do we want to wait till 7 to start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers gonna get tired pushing, admit. Yeah.
You know, what did we do without Zoom? It's like I Zoom
Oh,
multiple times with people every day. It's amazing. You know?
Francesca.
When we start, can you just open it up? So that if anybody comes in.
I don't know how. I'm just admitting all as I'm doing it. So.
Yeah.
I'll just keep admitting you can talk.
Okay.
You don't have to worry. I got this.
Okay, great.
I mean, it might need a hand massage afterwards.
Yeah.
At least my finger. I like your wallpaper. It's really pretty.
Thank you. It's spoon flour, peel and stick, and we have it like all over our
My
house.
daughter makes peel and stick wallpaper. I don't know if you know that or not,
Oh,
Sarah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Really crazy cowboy and cowgirl stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
can you say the name of the vendor again? I do love it too.
Yeah, it's spoon flour.
Wow.
One word, spoon flour. and it's kind of a compilation of, you can buy fabric, wallpaper, like real wallpaper, peel and stick, and it's like a bunch of different artists contribute to the site. So they've got tons of stuff. It's amazing.
We actually have industrious people working at their bench.
Yeah, I saw that.
I love it.
That is nice.
Don't waste any time.
Mhm.
All right. Going on here.
I don't know how this works, but am I supposed to be able to be heard?
No, if you could, if you could mute yourself until we open up for questions, that'd be awesome.
Okay,
Thank
sorry.
you.
But we'd like to see what you're making.
Yeah. Wonder, can we mute the sound of the participants entering the waiting room, or is everyone hearing that, or?
Yeah, how do I
Hmm.
do that? Let's see. Mhm.
Only you guys as the administrators hear that.
Oh, is that so? Okay.
Only we hear it? Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock. I think we're gonna have more roll in, but I think we can get started. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Second Saw of 2024. Very exciting. I am Amanda Doyle, and we are here tonight with Tonya Davidson to talk about the Tucson Gem, Mineral, and Fossil Show. We're all very excited to be here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Tonya. I just want to start with a little intro to MAG. MAG is the Metal Arts Guild of Georgia. We're a 501c3 nonprofit membership organization that curates in-person and virtual classes and workshops for metalsmiths in Georgia and all across the country and the world. If you're not already a member and you're watching tonight or watching this recording on our YouTube channel, we invite you to become a member. It's only $50 a year to join. And if you are a member, you get an 8% discount on all of our classes and events throughout the year. So if you take one class, that membership pays for itself. I just want to highlight 2 classes that aren't yet full on the schedule for this year. We're still building out classes, but we have 2 wonderful classes that I just wanted to highlight tonight. Ricky Frank, he's local to Atlanta, and the class is Introduction to Cloisonne Enameling, which is hard to find, I hear. So that one is still open. And then Jeanette Kane's doing die forming beads in ancient style. Jeanette's nationally recognized. It's a 5-day workshop, August 17 to 21, and that one is also still open. So take a look at all of the classes that we have available. We would be so thrilled to see you there. And I'm going to turn it over to, before I do that, sorry, stick around till the end if you can, because at the end, we're going to bring Janet on, who is our president, and she's going to do a quick raffle for some MAG swag, which is exciting and fun for everyone that's watching tonight. Okay. So now I'm going to turn it over to you, Tonya, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll jump right into the questions.
Sure. So I'm a metalsmith and an educator. I live in Tucson, Arizona half the time and in Missoula, Montana half the time. But I've lived in Arizona since 1988 and did go to University of Arizona, as well as my husband, who was born and raised here in Tucson, and our son, who was raised here. And also went to University of Montana, but also went to U of A. He got 2 degrees. So we're all Wildcats, proud Wildcats. It's a great place to live. It's a great place for the gym show. I get to sleep in my bed every year, which is the best part of living in Tucson during the gym show. I used to own a jewelry tool and supply company for 10 years. So my background is in education and in tools. I've been a distributor for lots of big companies. I was also a senior teacher for Rio Grande for 10 years. So my heart lies in education and in tools. I love tools. So going to the gym show, I've only missed 3 years in 36 years.
Wow.
So this will be my 33rd year attending the show. I was also an exhibitor for over 10 years. 1 year, we actually did 3 different shows at the same time, which I don't know what I was thinking. It wasn't very smart to have employees at different booths and trying to manage all the inventory at 3 shows. It was crazy. But I got to know the shows really well, which shows are a match for my clients and customers, and where to go and buy stuff and meet people and talk to people. Because when you do shows, that is the best way to meet other artisans and other suppliers and manufacturers. So getting to know tool manufacturers was one of the best parts of doing the show. So I feel like I know the show really well and have some good inside tips. And about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I had a bunch of people ask me for advice about the Tucson Gem Show. And I thought, well, okay, I'll just start a group for my friends and my students. So I started the Tucson Gem Show happenings page on Facebook, and it just started growing and growing. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't know all these people. I don't know 9,000 people, but they're all in the group because it just started as a way for me to share my information with my friends and my students. So that was really interesting. You never know how things are going to grow. When I first opened my jewelry tool and supply company, I didn't really understand that World Wide Web meant World Wide Web. So when I got my first order for a kiln to South Africa, I was kind of like, what did I get myself into, and how do I ship a kiln to South Africa? So same thing with this Tucson Gem Show group. I just started out trying to help people, and before I knew it, I was answering all sorts of questions, which I love, because there's nothing better than community, especially as an artist who works in her studio by herself all day long, every day. I guess I sort of seek out community in that way. So I'm really happy to be here tonight to answer your questions. And I've put together a little slideshow to help kind of answer those questions. So you'll have visuals with maps and things. So we can just start whenever you're ready.
Awesome. This is so great. Thank you so much for doing that, by the way. I think that's going to be really helpful. The first question that we have, and we have quite a few questions, so we're going to try to get through everything, and then we'll open it up to a Q&A at the end so everyone can ask the questions that we didn't cover, hopefully. Okay, great. So again, the Tucson Gem and Mineral and Fossil Show is from January 27th to February 11th, 2024 in Tucson, Arizona. And for those that have never been, can you give us a brief history on the show? And if you know how the show started, anything that you know about the show, just a brief history.
Sure. So this show started in 1955 as a group of people who rented out a small elementary school, and they stayed there until 1956 because they obviously were very successful their first year, and they moved to the fairgrounds where it stayed for a very long time. And then they moved to the Tucson Community Center in 1973. And in 1990, they moved to the Tucson Convention Center. Now, the Gem and Mineral Show is the Gem and Mineral Society who started this show. They have a show at the very end of the Tucson Gem Show. It's not at the beginning, it's not the middle, it's at the very end. And it is at the Tucson Convention Center. The only other show that's at the Tucson Convention Center is the AGTA show, which is kind of the cherry on the top of the entire show. It's the thing that draws in the most amount of people. It's kind of like JCK in Vegas. It's the thing that pulls in the most amount of people from all over the world to sell their diamonds, their fine gemstones. There's a whole designer section that they have booths showing their work too, that they can be picked up by galleries and stores. So it is the pinnacle, and it's during the middle of the show at the Tucson Convention Center. And then once they've left, then there's a weekend at the very end of the show that the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show opens up. And they are the people who put the society that started the show. That show really is open to retail. It's a lot of kids from schools go to that. They get local schools, take the buses, and they go to that. A lot of retirees. It's showing minerals. It's not like as much of a maker show as it is a let's enjoy minerals and all of the things that are around Gem's show. So that's at the very end. So there are 40. One thing that people don't understand is that I was trying to explain this on our group. There's only really 2 shows that are your traditional convention centers. That is the casino show at their convention center there. And then the Tucson Convention Center has AGTA and the Gem and Mineral Society at the very end of the Tucson Gem Show time period. There are 46 shows. There used to be double that amount, but right now there's 46 shows this year spread out all over town. So they could be an hour apart each way, depending upon where you're at and what show you're at. Some of them are very close. I'm going to show you those, which are on the I-10 corridor. And then there's some that are down on the other side of the I-10. So I'll show you all of those as well. So they are spread out. So we'll talk about transportation when we get to that question as well. So that's a really good thing to understand when you're planning it out, because a lot of people come, and first of all, it can be very overwhelming because there are 46 different shows. So you don't want to do 46 shows. You want to pick depending upon how many days you have. So if you have 3 days, you could probably do 5 shows. If you have 5 days, you can probably do 10 or 12 shows. So each show is a different amount of time that's going to take you to go through the show, because some are small and some are large. So we can talk about that as well. So here I show you that the show dates span January 16th. That's when they first open, to January 12th or February 12th. That's when the last one closes. Now, most of them are only open for 3 to 5 days. So the major shows are between January 26th and February 4th. It's funny because back in the 2000s, for example, the Holodome, we opened 3 to 4 weeks. Then it went down to 2 weeks, and then COVID came, and now it's only open for like 10 days or less. So every show has changed. Then, you know, we didn't have shows like the 22nd show that opened maybe 8 or 10 years ago. And it is a longer show than, say, some of the other shows like AGTA or GJX or even Jogs, those kinds of shows. So you really want to look at your different shows and figure out how they overlap, and then fit your 3 to 5 days period over your favorite shows that you want to go to. So that's a brief introduction about the history of it. It really is an amazing show. There's nothing else like it in the whole world. And it's fun. It's, you know, people used to go to Quartzsite to get slabs and rough. And then about 3 to 5 years ago, Keno at the TEP Park decided to expand into their slabs and rough. And so there really isn't much of a reason to go to Quartzsite, because you can buy as much rough as you'll ever need in your whole life at the Keno show. So there is, it has expanded in great ways. And so some of the shows that weren't very popular have gone away. And then some of the other shows have expanded or changed, or even changed locations. So that's a good thing to know as well. So every year is a little bit different. People ask me, you know, well, where do you go find turquoise? And I'm like, well, it depends, because this year they could have moved to a different show. They could be selling some, you know, they could have not come back this year. And the other thing is that show promoters don't update their lists very well. And oftentimes they'll list people who aren't even at their show as exhibitors. So I put no weight in the books that they put out. I just know which shows to go to that are going to have the best selection of the things that I'm looking for as a maker.
Great.
So this is the Tucson Gem Show page. If you're looking for it on Facebook, it's called Tucson Gem Show Happenings, because the other one was already taken. So if you find it, that's the picture that you're looking for if you want to join it. And it's got some great information that we're going to show you in a minute. But okay, Amanda, I'll let you go take over.
No, this is so great. I'm taking notes too, so that we can refer back to some of the things you said. I'm also going to try to put some things, as Janet and Joan will as well, in the chat for everyone that you're covering. Like I just mentioned, that window, that January 26th to February 4th, that contains the most variety in show. I think that's a really important date span for everyone to hear.
Yes.
But also what I really heard you say was, do your research, get yourself organized, and make sure that you're going and targeting the shows that are going to service you the best as the artist, so that you're not wasting your time in places that maybe don't work for what you're making. I love that. Okay, so this next question is kind of a series of questions, and it's about how do you prepare for the show? What are what should the expectation of the show experience be? How does it run? what should we expect in terms of comfort and getting around and all of that. So I had sent you these, so I'm going to let you just kind of pop through these bullets. For
Okay.
everyone.
Great. So one of the questions was, what is the best show for cabochons, rough, beads, finding specimens? Specimens are mostly in one area called the Mineral Corridor, and it's kind of north of downtown. It's off of Oracle, and it's where a lot of restaurants have gone out of business or people have gone out of business. And so they've taken over those restaurants or empty stores and created like a whole mineral area. And so there is a whole show. There's several shows in that area, like little tiny show promoters. And then inside of like La Fuente restaurant, you'll find, 20 different vendors selling their stuff. You go across the street, there's somebody else with a big show with 20 people or 30 people in there. Sometimes you'll just find single rooms where you walk into a room and they're selling out of a room that had maybe a business that had a door to the outside. And so they went in and set up a shop there. So the Mineral Corridor is really where you're going to find minerals. Now, the 22nd Street added a tent last year that had a lot of minerals. So that's also a really great show to go look at. Plus, there are little tiny shows all along I-10 if you want to walk up and down the frontage road that has minerals. So when I talk about things on the Tucson Gem Show page on Facebook, I'm mostly gearing my answers and my suggestions to makers, people who aren't mineral collectors or lapidarists. There are some lapidary stuff in the group, but I'm really focusing on helping makers find what they need. So if you're looking for minerals, I will have a post on that every year. I do post all through January of where to find stuff. So if you go, you'll see a post about that show. And I try to highlight each show and talk about what you'll find there, how to get there, parking, what the hours are, all of that. So I've already highlighted 2 shows, and this week I'll be putting out a whole bunch of other posts about that. So you'll want to go check that out. But on the Facebook page, I make these graphics, and we'll list things underneath each one so it's easy to find and you can search for it. So there'll be a whole page about looking for places to stay, looking for good eats, fun things to do in Tucson in case you bring a spouse or you want a day off or you've run out of money and you need to go do something else. There'll be classes and education and demos page that people can also then post their own information there. The great thing about this group site is that I'm letting people collaborate in finding things. So when we're looking for, like, this is the tool dealers at the Tucson Gem Show. I've listed all of those that went up last week, but then you're going to start seeing next week or the following week looking for posts. So when someone says, I'm looking for pearls, I'll make a post that say I'm looking for pearls, and people can put in, hey, I bought great pearls at the whatever place, at the Holodome, at this show with this vendor. And during the show, if you're looking for something, you can't find it, all you do is go in and post it. I'll make a post with that, and then people can collect ideas of where to find these things. And they'll post, hey, I saw some at so-and-so. Oh, I found this at so-and-so. And that helps you because we're all like shopping together and trying to find the best sources for things. And people have been very good about sharing their sources. So you'll see the turquoise. These are just examples of my posts. So looking for somebody wanted bicolored gems in spheres and beads and these 3 things. So I posted that, and then people told her where to go. Looking for chain by the foot, that kind of thing. So these are kind of, I'm going to show you maps on where you're going to be finding most of these things. And then we can revisit these maps too when people have questions. But this is a good basis of where you'll find most of the shows. This is called the I-10 corridor shows. You're going to find AGTA, GJX, Pueblo, 22nd Street, the new Snag show, lots of great food, nightlife. This is where you're going to find a lot of this. So I kind of circled the Pueblo show there just to give you an idea. Here is an idea of how far it is from, say, the Holodome Gem Mall, the Keno show, or the Jog show. So those 3 are in one area. So the point of this is, I recommend you have a rental car, because Ubers are harder to get when there are so many people trying to get one during the gem show. And it's also expensive. It ends up being cheaper to rent a car and to park, even though there are some places that charge for parking. The places that charge for parking is around the Pueblo show. You're going to want to have a $20 bill in cash to give the guy. 22nd Street charges $5 to $10. Every year they go up a little bit in cash. All the other shows are and then AGTA, GJX are right across the street from each other, and you're going to want to have about a $10 bill for that. You can't come and go, so it's going to be park and leave. It's best if you go in the morning right before they're opening, like a half an hour, and park your car. You'll have a really great parking space, and you'll for sure get in and go find a food truck and get a coffee. Then start walking around, because a lot of vendors are already open, and then you can get early deals. The Holodome is free parking. A lot of the shows are free parking. So like Keno, you don't have to worry about paying for parking in those places. The thing about, they do have shuttles, and they've had, in the COVID years, they didn't have them. They should have them again this year. But there are quite a few people that want to get on a van that takes 8 people, and you're going to have to wait. And so when you come and you spend all this money to fly to Tucson, how much time do you want to spend waiting for a shuttle bus or an Uber when you need to get to the next show, because you're trying to maximize those 3 to 5 days that you're here? If you're here for a week or 2 weeks, then you can take your time getting to shows. But really, for me, I'm like, I want to get to the next show. So I want to jump in my car and get there. And I want to have nothing is walkable except for the I-10 corridor, which I'm going to show you right now, is walkable. So what you could do is park at the Pueblo show or at the AGTA Tucson Convention Center, and then walk those shows. So I'm just going to show you here. This is the Pueblo show. This is GJX, which is across from AGTA. This is the new Snag show that's at the cathedral, which is at the actual cathedral. They have a building and there's rooms in there. And this is the 22nd show. Now, the Motel 6 show is okay. It's pretty good. And there's the Tucson has some shows. The Red Lion has some shows. So a lot of people walk up and down the street here to the different shows and just pop in. Now, I don't have time for that. I have a circuit, and I have to get to those shows. I know what I need to buy at those shows. I'm happy to share my circuit with you guys. And because I know where I need to go to get stuff. And so I don't really have time to wander around to see where things are, because I know that what I need is at these other shows. So that comes with going to the show, and then you hear what other people are saying, and they're showing on the group, maybe the Tucson Gem Show happenings group, they'll show what they found, and then you're like, oh, I have to go over to that show. So that's usually how that works. But I wanted to also show you, this is a great place to get food and to get breakfast. There's a fantastic bakery there that's a Hispanic bakery that's been around for a really long time. That's amazing. There's a place in there called Sace, which has amazing Mexican food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. San Agustin is a really nice restaurant in there. So these are all within walking. Now, I also showed you this arrow here for downtown Tucson. We'll talk about places to go eat down there too. So there's a lot there. Now, keep in mind, there are a lot of people in town. So every place is packed, and some places have 1 to 2 hours of waiting. So I recommend you don't eat anywhere down here except for in off hours, and that you head north to eat, because then you're going to have a better chance of getting food and getting home. And you're going to be exhausted after walking for 8 hours and shopping and talking. So at least for me as an artist, being in my studio all day long, that's a lot of energy spent out extroverting, and I have to get home and refill my well before the next day. So one of the questions was, do tool manufacturers offer discounts, and how do I get one? So they don't. There's not a lot of places that offer tool discounts, and there's not even an actual lot of tool dealers, because a lot of the tool manufacturers and dealers don't come anymore. It's just not worth it to them with the internet to, they can make more money staying at home than they can hauling all their stuff and paying for shipping and setup and whatever fees are related to that and shipping stuff back. So you're not going to find a lot of tool dealers. However, the tool dealers that you will find will either be at Pueblo, which is where you're going to find Micro Tools here, and he is offering a deal. That's his special. So I wanted to show that because you'd asked about discounts. And then I went and asked Pepe Tools, who is going to be at the new Snag Show, which is February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And he will have a booth with different artists demonstrating, and there will be demos there. I'm actually demonstrating there for 3 days as well. But he will have free shipping, and he will have Tonya specials. So if you ask him about the Tonya special, you'll get a discount on something. I don't know what that is yet, but he said there will be Tonya specials. So as far as discounts, and then with beads and other things that you're buying, stones, cash always gets you a better deal because they can pocket it. Ask for discounts because they don't give them unless you ask. And then if you have a girlfriend with you, try to put your purchases together if you can, because you might get a better deal that way too. They really look at volume and how much you're buying. They're not interested in selling one-offs and giving you any kind of deal. There are certain shows, most shows are open to the retail, so that you're not going to get unless you ask for deals and tell them you're wholesale. The 4 shows that are wholesale are Holodome and Gem Mall, which is basically the same show because you can get in from, once you're in the show, you can go to either show. It's put on by the same company, which is GL&W, and their registration closes January 12th. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. Then the other one is AGTA, and I had a little bit of a panic moment when I was putting the slides together today because they put out a notice that maybe you didn't see in your email that says, if you've in the past, if you came to the show, you were automatically registered for the next year. They changed that for this year. If you have come to every single show in the past, you're no longer registered for the AGTA show unless you actually went and re-registered this year. So that's still open. You can still register for AGTA. The next one is GJX, which if you have an AGTA badge, you just go over to GJX and stand in the line that says AGTA sticker. And all they do is put a sticker on your badge and you can get into AGTA or GJX. So I never even register for GJX because I have my AGTA badge. Jogs is still open, the registration as well. That's probably going to close soon. So that's one you do need to register for. So there's only 4 shows. Jogs, AGTA, GJX, and GL&W, which is Holodome Gem Mall. So I covered those. Everything else is open to the retail public, which means when you get in, you don't need to register. So when you go to Pueblo, there will be a registration desk there. You don't need to go to the registration desk. Just walk on by. That's just so they can get your information. So that's an insider tip. Don't waste your time. And so all the other shows, they don't even recognize registration. However, your badge, especially if you have an AGTA badge, will often get you better discounts, and then ask for those discounts. List your 3 favorite shows and why. Oh, that's so hard. So I love the AGTA GJX show. I do those. I do the AGTA in the morning, GJX in the afternoon on the day that it opens, which is the 30th. I think that's my favorite show because I get to see what's really new and hot. I get to see the high-end things that I want to strive to have in my work. I get to see materials that you can't see everywhere else. There are some dealers there that cut amazing stones, cabs, things that you're not going to find anywhere else, really high quality gems. So I like to go to that show for that reason. Pueblo is my second or my most favorite show. Pueblo is very diverse. It has things like Buddha bowls and flags, and then you go down the way, there's wampum and spiny oysters, then you shells and beads and Navajo stamps, metal stamps. You go down a little farther, you can find fossils. You go into the tent, you can see amazing artist work that are doing inlay. You find the high-end cut cabs and materials that you want to put in your pieces, but they're a little bit expensive. You're going to find designer work there. There's going to be amazing cabs there that you will not see anywhere else. You're going to see spectrolite from Finland. You'll see just things that you don't see anywhere else. And there's also great rough there. There's a New Age Gems carries amazing rough if you like to cut your own. really high-end stuff as well. So there's just a huge variety, and that's where you're also going to find micro tools. Fretz Hammers is coming back this year. They haven't been there for a few years since COVID. So they're going to have a booth there. So that is a really great show to go to. Pueblo is probably one of my most favorites. And then the other shows that I have to go to that would qualify as my third bunch of shows, which is the Holodome Gem Mall, 22nd Street. I really like. There are people there that I go because I found amazing things there. And then the Kino show, I like to go because there's weird things there that I always find some new material that I want to work with or put into my work. And then Jogs. Jogs has a few people that I buy from, and then there's some people there that I buy weird things from. So Jog show is very diverse. You can go get scarves there for your Christmas gifts. You can get backpacks and handbags, but then you can also find shoes. I mean, it's just kind of like a swap meet, but the SunWest is there, and they have amazing turquoise, even small rounds that are really hard to find, and you can pick through them. So I always go there and spend a good 2 hours hand picking everything. I really like to be able to hand pick a lot of my gemstones that I use. So really friendly people that you can talk to and get to know their stones at Jogs. So that's that map. And then I wanted to show, the next question I had was, list your 3 favorite places to eat in Tucson with Southwest vibe. So El Charro is the oldest restaurant in Tucson. It's a Mexican restaurant. There's 3 of them. It's Sonoran Mexican, which you're not going to find anywhere else. Tucson is famous for Sonoran Mexican food. So I don't even go to places like Guadalajara or places that have Tex-Mex, because we like to eat the Sonoran food. So my husband was born and raised in Tucson, and so we love it. El Charro is very good. They have several locations around town. Of course, there's one northwest, which is where I would go because then you won't have to wait as long. The one downtown is the oldest, and it's hardest to get in and the smallest. Their Safe is very good for Mexican food. It's also Sonoran Mexican food. BK Tacos, El Guerrero. BK Tacos, most people wouldn't know to go in there, but it is a fan favorite with Tucsonans. And they have great tacos and all sorts of things. And then there is El Guerrero, El Canela, I'm gonna mess it up, Canela Guerrero. My husband could tell you immediately, but they are James Beard winners for Sonoran hot dogs. So that is a Tucson fan favorite also. So I would recommend eating off the beaten path and not going to chains, but finding interesting places that are well reviewed. You can usually trust Yelp in Tucson for good reviews. I'm going to show you some other places that you can look for food recommendations too. But this map will show you that one of the questions was, where do you go in the evening for camaraderie or to bars? So I'm going to show you a little bit about the nightlife, but this arrow shows you on the way to go downtown. So we were just showing you like the downtown area with AGTA and GJX. So this is not far from there. You could walk there. So there's 2 things, which is 6th Avenue and 4th Avenue. 4th Avenue has a lot of bars and a lot of restaurants. So that's a great place to go. Great places to hang out and have a drink. You're going to find a lot of U of A students there also. And I actually met my first husband there, but that's another story. So, and I met my second husband at another U of A bar. But anyway, so this area right here is called the Warehouse Arts District. It's fairly new, like 5 or 6 years, and a lot of wine bars and breweries are there, which is really great. So that's a great place to go to. And, you could just walk around hitting all these different places. Then downtown is going to have a lot of bars, great restaurants like Oban, which is a Japanese restaurant. So you'll want to look and see if you can make reservations for any of those places on Open Table if you're going to want to eat downtown. Otherwise, head up north to some of the other restaurants that are in town. So nightlife, I would hit up these areas. Over next to Pueblo is like an outdoor container restaurants and bars where they are in like these containers, and then you go sit out at a picnic table with other people and have beers and things, and there's lights over it. That would be a fun place to go at night, which is next to sort of by the Augustin Kitchen that I showed you, and Sace and La Estrella Bakery, that whole area. Okay, so Then my next question was, is the trolley still running? And yes, it is. So here is the information on where you're going to find it. It's called SunTran, and they have a schedule there. So that will take you down to 4th Avenue, 6th Avenue, U of A, that area, because it was really made to help students get around the outer living areas into the U of A area, which isn't considered really downtown, but it's near downtown. So yes, it's still running, and the buses are running too. Just be really careful when you're downtown if you're by yourself or you're just a small group of women. Just be very careful. There's a huge population of homeless people downtown, so you just have to watch where you're at and be careful. So here are some other suggestions for things to follow and look at when you are deciding where to go. There's on Instagram, Tucson Foodie, which also highlights all the new places, and they have some really great suggestions. So I would just sit and look at all their food and decide where you might want to eat. They have a lot of vegan suggestions, which is great. There's a huge vegan restaurant population in Tucson that is very highly regarded. We have a lot of great restaurants here. The next one would be This is Tucson. This also has some great information about things that are going on in Tucson, places to eat. And a lot of the restaurants, actually, my favorite restaurants follow them. So that's a good sign too. And then if you're looking for music, the Rialto has a lot of bands that play all the time. And that's a really great place to look for nightlife if you're looking for something and just want to get a ticket. So I think that's primarily standing room only. So you just go in and you can stand and watch the music. So that's they have some great stuff there that you might want to check out. That's also on Instagram. If you have a spare time moment that you just don't want to shop anymore, the Alfie Norville Gem and Mineral Museum is downtown. It's not at U of A, but it is a U of A property. It has fantastic exhibit with a lot of artists that we all know. Their work is there. So you might want to go check that out. And I pulled the ticket prices here and the hours, and the last ticket is sold at 3 p.m. So be mindful it's not open Sunday or Monday either. So you'll have this information in the Tucson Gem Show happenings page. I'll just post all of these slides there for people to look at. Let's see. How do you know if it's a wholesale show only? You just know that those 4 shows that I told you about are wholesale only. So that's really out of 46. That's all you have to remember are those 4 shows. Where do you learn about the after show evening events? I just showed you some places that you might want to check out and follow for more information. Honestly, I'm exhausted after a dinner because you're going to have a late dinner and you're going to want to go to bed. Your feet's going to hurt. And you just want to recoup for tomorrow. However, my advice would be when you get home, make sure you go through all your stuff, go through your receipts, go through your beats, make sure you got charged correctly, because sometimes they put in the wrong numbers in the credit card and you're busy yakking and you don't know. Also, that's a good time for you to write down notes of what you bought, because you can trust me, if you buy for 3 to 5 days and you go home, you're going to be like, what is this? I can't read this receipt. I don't even know what I bought. I don't know what I paid for. I actually carry a Sharpie and baggies with me. And when I buy something, I write down on the baggie what it costs on the baggie. So I know exactly when I get home and I have a better chance of putting everything together. Are there classes or seminars available? So this slide is showing you that the first thing is Snag. Snag has had a show last year, but they moved this year, 2024, to a new location called the Cathedral downtown that I showed you guys. And it is February 1st through the 3rd. So it's 3 days. The first one is just like the evening. It's not even a full day. And then the last day, Sunday, is really an artisan showcase. So there's going to be a lot of artisans that have their work out on tables and cases showing you and selling their work. So that's really interesting because there's not anything like that at the show. Then Vivi Magoo always has their event with workshops. And this is going to be it's in the north area of town, you know, where I said northwest and north. There's a lot of great restaurants up there. That's a great place to stay. They have a thing at the La Paloma hotel. And so they're teaching and they have classes. And I know there's still seats available in a lot of the classes. So if you want to take a class, you should check that out. And then the last thing is that Clay Revolution is going to be out at the casino, and they have a party on Sunday night from 4 to 8 that you're welcome to attend. It's really fun. I went last year. I highly recommend it. And then check out their booth during the show hours. Generally, the show hours are always 10 to 6 or 10 to 4. So this is the last day, a Sunday. So the show ends at 4 and this party starts at 4. So you want to plan your day accordingly. So maybe you could go shopping before and then go to this event. The Snag show over here has demos, live demos from lots of different artists. Lucy Walker's going to be there from Malaysia. I'm going to be demoing. There's going to be lots of people demoing at different booths. So you probably want to check that out. That's going to be the closest to what we used to have at like Rio Grande when they put on their show. So it's a great opportunity to try out tools. A lot of the tool vendors will be there, new concepts, GRS, Pepe tools. So you can go and see what the tools and touch them and see how they work and try it if they let you, and get some deals like free shipping or specials for the show. So I would definitely hit that show because I think it's going to be one of the most exciting parts of the show this year. And I'm looking forward to that. What should you pack in your backpack, or what should you bring? So on the Tucson Gem Show happenings page, I have in the featured post, this post, which is pretty much your checklist, which is why it has boxes next to it. So you could print it out if you want to, but let's just kind of go through it quickly. You want to bring comfortable shoes. I highly recommend that you bring maybe 2 pair in case one pair ends up not being comfortable, but we do have DSWs all over town, which is the shoe warehouse where you can just go pick out a new pair of shoes, which I've been known to do on occasion. So there you don't worry about looking fashionable. Nobody looks at you. The AGTA show and the GJX, maybe you want to dress a little nicer on that day, but you don't need to be dressed up. You don't need to be fancy. Do not wear heels. Wear comfortable shoes, whatever that is, boots, tennis shoes, whatever. You're going to do a lot of standing. There's not a lot of seats. Like there is a food court at the Holodome and Gem Mall, but you have to wait for a seat to eat your food. So there are a lot of people. Don't expect there to be a lot of seats and tables everywhere. Dress comfortably and in layers. Tucson is known during the gem show time for being cold, windy, rainy. It can be sunny and hot, and an hour later be cold and freezing and windy. So dress in layers, like a short sleeve shirt with a coat over it or a sweatshirt over it that you could take off and wrap around you. Maybe not full pants, but those 3/4 pants, capri pants or whatever, so that if it gets hot, you're not going to be too hot, because it can get warm, especially with the sun out. When it's windy, it's cold. And we've been having really cold days right now. We've had a hard freeze the last 2 nights, and we had snow 3 days ago. So it's kind of a weird thing during this time of year, and you never know what it's going to be like. And in the past, it's been really nice, but I remember like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it poured down rain, was muddy and miserable the whole entire gem show. So, Tucson is very casual. People do not dress up here. So you can go to the fanciest restaurant in dress down clothes. Do not worry about that. You'll just transition perfectly from the gem show into any restaurant in town. Bring a water bottle with you. Snacks are not a bad idea. A lot of people live off granola bars and protein bars because the food, you never know what you're going to get at a food truck. So a lot of people don't eat at them. Some people are adventurous and eat at them. So whatever it is favorable to you, I would do, but I always have some snacks with me. A raincoat or umbrella is not a bad idea. Bring some business cards to hand out to friends and people that you might want to meet. Vendors don't want your business cards, so you don't need to bring those. Really, I think I give out like 3 during the whole show, mostly to people I meet in the line in the bathrooms. I strike up a conversation with. You do want to bring a couple copies of your business license. It's rare that you'll have to give that out, but more importantly is to bring stickers. Vendors love you for stickers. The people behind you in line will love you even more, because if a vendor has to write down your information, the 10 people waiting to pay behind you are getting pissed off. And so they want you to go through the line as quickly as possible. So when you get up to the front of the line, if you have a sticker that just has like a mailing label, a 1x2 that has your business name. I have an example in the Tucson Gem Show group of mine that I loaded up into the featured posts, but it just has your basic information, your license number, the state that it's in, the address of the state, place, your address, everything that a vendor would need. And when you hand that to them, they can stick it on their copy of the receipt and hand you the other receipt. Now, take a look at your receipt when you get it, because you often cannot read their handwriting. So if it's important to you to note what it is that you bought, like a certain stone or a price, because a lot of times they won't even break it down. They'll just lump into one lump sum and put it on there. And you're like, wait a minute, I bought 8 stones. How much were they? They're not marked. So you might want to write those down quickly. So might want to have a pencil, a pen, a Sharpie marker, some baggies. If you're going to the AGTA show and you didn't pre-register, you should bring with you some receipts. Now, in the past, they used to make you do $10,000 worth of receipts that didn't include tools. So if you had RIO receipts, it had to be $10,000 that you spent in the last year for metal, stones, things like that. And you could use like all the vendors that you buy from. Then during COVID, they dropped it down to $5,000. And so it was easier to get in. This year, the registration didn't even ask me for that. It asked me for proof of my business, my tax license, and then my website, and they're going to go check you out before they approve you. So I don't know what's all involved in that, but if you go to register in person, you might want to bring copies of invoices that total about $5,000 worth of receipts. And I believe GGX across the street is like $3,000 worth of receipts. So it's always good just to have some proof that you are indeed in business and you do buy stuff throughout the year that are not tools, because they don't like to include the tools in that. I talked about the Sharpie markers in the bags, checking your receipts when you go back to your rooms, because I have actually been overcharged by like a zero. So instead of it $150, it was $1,500. So really check your receipts, because you don't want to get back home and realize that you got charged incorrectly a month later, 2 months later, and they're out of the country. The other thing is, if you have a credit card like Capital One that doesn't charge foreign transaction fees, I highly recommend that's a card that you use when you're in Tucson, because a lot of these vendors are from different countries. And when they charge it, it's charging it as if that was in that country. So one time I forgot and I used my Citibank, and then I had transaction fees, foreign transaction fees for all of the things that I bought, which is based on a percentage. So now I was paying like 7% more for those items because I used the wrong credit card. So it's really smart to have a credit card that doesn't charge a foreign transaction fee or paying cash for those purchases. A lot of vendors will still take checks. This is shocking, but true. So you can also bring your checkbook, because they will take checks, which I find very odd, but they do it. Backpacks, be very careful about backpacks and bags. First of all, rollies, a lot of shows you can bring in rollies. They're usually fine, but people will hate you for it, because a lot of people are yakking with their girlfriend while they're walking, and they both have their rollies, and they're just walking in front of people who are going the opposite direction in a row. And so people trip over their bags, and then their words said. So if you're going to bring a rollie, just be courteous about having a rollie. Keep it next to you. Don't be dragging it way behind. Pay attention to what you're doing, so that you're considerate of people who are walking, because people are trying to get their purchases made and they're in a big hurry. Most people are not lollygagging around. If you have a backpack, never set it down next to you. Same with your rollie. Make sure your rollie's in front of you when you're looking at cabs at the table. Thieves are very good at grabbing your backpack without you noticing. If you set it down and you're like looking at gemstones and you look down, your bag is gone. So also be very careful about putting stuff in your car and then going back into the show. Also, when you get at some place, people can follow you from shows to see if you're going to your hotel. And then when you go inside, they rob you. So you need to be aware of these and have a strategy for how you're going to watch yourself and your belongings when you're at the show, in your car, and going to a hotel or to dinner. So I wanted to add that. They know that this is a big show and they come, and unfortunately they take advantage of people. So every year somebody will there's like a dozen posts in the group about people who have been robbed, mostly vendors who've been robbed. If you find a booth that you love and you bought something you love, take a picture of it. You have your phone with you, take a picture, because you'll want to remember next year where that was. And it's so hard. You'll see 100 or 1,000 different booths. You won't remember where you were on the first day. So take a picture. I also recommend you just buy. If you like it, you see it, buy it, because it's unlikely you're going to have time to go back. It's not like a normal show where you can go back to row number 1 because you probably aren't even going to come back to that show again. So there's so many shows to go to. Buy it when you see it, know what a good price is for something, and also bring a loop with you or some way to look at things. So this is a new item that's from Auto Fry that they started carrying. It's a 5 times loop, but it's big. And so this is really great to carry with you. And if you don't have one of these, carry your 10-time loop with you, because you want to be able to look at stones. The shows are not well lit. The booths are not well lit. It's not like a traditional show at a traditional convention center. So when you're looking at stones, you don't know if they're heavy cut on the bottom, because a lot of times that's where they'll hide the weight. So when you're paying by the carat, you're paying more for that stone because it's cut with heavier weight on the culet side. So you really want to be able to look. And you also, I've bought stones before that looked fine to me with my readers on, and I got home and there are cracks and chips in them. So it's not like you can go return them. So bring some way to look at the stones. I mean, I wouldn't bring your Optivisor, but you know, a loop would be good, and you'll look funny if you're wearing an Optivisor. Bring your phone charger, because you're going to run out of battery on your phone. So little slim recharger is always a good idea. If you have chain by the foot that you love, or a stone that you love, either take a really good picture of it on a ruler. So because there'll be like 40 different chains on a foot, and you'll be like, that looks like it, but I'm not sure if that was it, because this looks like it, this looks like it. So actually, I'll just cut off like a 1-inch section, tape it down to an index card, and bring it with me. Then I can match it exactly and know that I'm buying the right chain by the foot, because otherwise then you just get something you didn't need, and now you have more inventory. Now you didn't get what you need. So that's always good. If you're matching a stone, I will bring a stone or color that you really love, or you're trying to find something you can show somebody and maybe they can help you find it, or you can take a picture and put it on the group and somebody will crowdsource it together. Bring Advil or your favorite painkiller, because your feet are going to hurt, your back might hurt. It's a marathon. Bring tissues and bacteria gel. Here's a funny thing. There's a thing called the Tucson crud. Everyone gets it. It was invented way before COVID. It is a real thing. People used to laugh about it, but it's real. And it's because everyone from all over the world comes here, and they all have their own kind of germs, and we're all touching the same beads, and we're all touching the same stuff. And then you get home, and 5 to 7 days later, you're sick, and you're really sick. So don't make any appointments for the week after you get back. Plan to have a couple down days that you can restore your energy, and bone up now on vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C, all those good things. Start taking supplements now to bone up your immunity before you get here. My next piece of advice is kind of weird. It's not necessarily a mask, but it's gloves. If you wear gloves, any kind of gloves, rubber gloves, cotton gloves, any kind of glove, and you put them on when you go into a show, take them off, put them in a baggie, put on some glove in a bottle or something that protects your hands, you will not get sick. I've been to every show, even COVID years. I went to the shows and I didn't wear a mask, and I was fine, but I wore gloves and I never got sick. All the years prior to that I didn't wear gloves, I got sick every single year. So this is my biggest wellness tip. And no one will look at you funny. I just wear those black Harbor Freight latex gloves. No one looks at me like I'm a weirdo, and I just take them off and wear them at the next one. So again, boost up your immunity. It is a real thing. The Tucson crud is a real thing. Set a budget and bring cash. That's a real thing too. You'll be surprised. Every year when I get my credit card bill, I'm sick for days because I spend way more than I thought I would. You always think, oh, I'm getting a good deal. Oh, I won't find these again. So you always overspend. So be serious about your budget and be willing to bargain, have cash to try to get the best deal. You'll need cash for parking and food trucks. So that's a good thing. If you have friends who have the same taste, buy in bulk and split the bounty, because that's a really great way to get what you need. A lot of the dealers take cash, but they also take Venmo and PayPal. So if you say, hey, will you give me a discount if I send it to you, friends to friends in Venmo? Because you're there accepting the goods, so you know what you're getting. It's pretty safe. You're not going to fight the charge later. And they will usually give you a discount that way. So be prepared to do, if you want to do that, to have that Venmo ready to go. And I talked about the foreign credit cards, and then beware of your surroundings. Don't expect deals the last day of the show. A lot of people go, oh, I'm going to wait and I'm going to go to the Holidome on the last day. Well, the last day, most of them are already packing up or have already packed up and left, especially if it's a bad year, they will have already left. The Chinese dealers, the Indian dealers, they've already packing and going, and they don't care that you want to spend money. They also don't really give deals. Now, some of the smaller dealers that are from the United States, they do like to give deals. The other ones, they don't. So don't expect to get deals or to be able to even shop on the last day. Bring a card to share with other people that you meet and have your social media on it. That's really the most important thing, is just a way for them to contact you or find you later. And then, so I covered whether to bring a rolly bag or not. And then how to make, what to do when you have contacts at friends at shows. The best way is to just get to know each other on social media. So making sure you get a card with their social media so you can connect and follow them later, and then just send them a message. Hey, I met you at the bathroom at the Pueblo. Just wanted to tell you I really like your work, and I'm following you now on the Instagram. So that's a great way to meet other people. What is the weather gonna be like? Well, this is the forecast for the Gem Show days. Looks like at the end of the show is going to be nicer than at the kind of the middle of the show. So just be prepared for chilly nights. It actually is going to warm up a lot. Right now this morning was 32 degrees when we woke up. Yesterday was 23 degrees when we woke up. So it's getting cold. It was cold here. So maybe you guys got lucky and we already had the cold spell, and it will stay nice like this. So if the sun is out, it actually feels hotter than when it's cloudy. So on the days where it's sunny, you could probably wear less clothing and be good to go. Okay, so shoes. Someone posted, she was so glad she listened to me because she wore these and it was very comfortable. And she talked about how her shoes were a dirty mess. So don't wear anything you love, because you're walking through dirt parking lots with fairly large stones. They don't have the fine gravel. They have the big gravel rocks. It's dirty. It's messy. Like if you go to Motel 6, you'll be probably parking in the back parking lot and walking through these weeds that go through these trees that looks like an encampment. So it is it's not your typical convention center thing. The convention center is nice and you won't be walking through any dirt while you're there, but that's probably the only day that you need to worry about wearing shoes that don't get dirty. The rest of the days it's going to be dirty. Like Keynote is very dirty and windy usually. So I would wear something comfy. And then somebody asked about registration. So GL&W, which is Holidome and Gem Mall, which is the same location, but you can register separately if you want. But once you're into one show, you're into both shows. There are two ginormous tents to walk through. So that show actually takes like a full day if you're going to walk through both, and you won't even get through both in one full day. Their registration, I just wanted to show you this, closes on January 12th. So you want to get on that if you got 2 days. So if you're going to register for that show, otherwise, when you go in person, you will wait for probably 30 to 60 minutes to get through the line for registration. So this is why I always recommend you pre-register at every show, the 4 shows that you have to register for, because the wait is pretty long. This is the JOGS registration. So if you go to JOGS show, there's buyer registration and also guest registration. So you can register guests for this show. The GL&W, you can have 2 buyers and 4 guests. So you can get a total of 6 badges if you have employees, but the guests can't buy. Same with this show, JOGS, the guests cannot buy. So you can register there. And then AGTA, you can only register yourself, and any employees that you can verify you've paid are your employees. Otherwise, I think it's a $50 fee for any guest that you want to bring with you. So I would, on that day, leave your husband to go golfing or whatever. He's not going to go with you because you'll have to pay that extra fee. And I just wanted to show this that prior attendees will not be auto-registered as in the past. So this is the first time, and I had a small panic attack when I saw that, went to register. So hopefully I'm going to be able to go to the show, because before, I didn't have to worry about it. This is what their registration looks like, and it has a little bit of information there. They've really relaxed. So that's a weird sign. I'm not sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign, that you no longer have to prove $10,000 or $5,000 worth of purchases. You just have to clearly show that you're in the jewelry industry. So that's a very interesting change. Never before in the 33 years I've been attending has this been the case with this show. So that's what the registration page looks like for AGTA. And then if you're in town and you would like to come to my open house with Francesca Watson, who owns the Makery in Texas, you're welcome to just contact me through Instagram or through Facebook, and I'll tell you where it's at. I don't know how many people will come. It's like 6 to 9 p.m. It's really not a big deal. Just wanted to have a place for everybody to get together and talk. So, and share information. So if you're available on the 29th, you're welcome to come. Here's how you can contact me. I'm on Instagram as the real Tonya Davidson. I have the Tucson Gem Show happenings page. And then I also run the Jewelry Makers Guild page on Facebook. So those are 3 ways you can find me. And there's my email. And let me see if there's there's no other slide. So if we want to go back to the map and have any questions, the shows are always basically 10 to 6, sorry. Last days are 10 to 4 usually. So you don't have to get up super early. The vendors don't get up super early, and just roll in at 10 o'clock. That gives you an opportunity to meet somebody for breakfast if you want, and then drive over and get a parking space before they open, get some coffee, and then go in to the shows. Getting your pieces home safe. Almost at every show, there is a UPS store booth that you can just give them your stuff and they'll ship it. There's also post offices all over town that you can priority ship stuff. I would bring some bubble wrap or something in your suitcase that you could just put your things around if you got something that was breakable. They even will do crates and pallets of things if you buy a whole lot of stuff for your store or whatever you're buying. And then I would probably bring like some little containers. That was a good suggestion for like little dollar store Tupperware containers that you could put stuff inside of your luggage if you were taking it back on the plane or carrying it on. I would probably personally buy something I could put in my carry-on. There are maps of the shows everywhere, but you don't really need, everywhere. Every show will have the book. And I usually just rip out that page when I was first new to the shows, but it's really easy. Almost everything is down I-10. The only exception is the Mineral Corridor, which I highlight on the Tucson Gem Show happenings page if you want to see that map. There are food trucks everywhere, as I said, so you can get something to eat there, or if you're staying in Airbnb, I would go to the grocery store. Uber is a little bit iffy if you're going to find one. If you're not in a hurry, great. That's a great opportunity. Otherwise, a rental car is probably your best bet. And let's see, what else? The most popular show there, I don't think there is a most popular show, but I would say they're probably the ones that I just said, which is Jogs, Holodome and Gem Mall, AGTA and GJX, and then 22nd Street, Pueblo, of course. Did I already say that? And then Keno. Keno's really popular too. And I think that's all of the questions. I can answer your questions now if we have time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. This was so amazing. And you really covered everything in such a beautiful way. I feel like what I heard the most, like in all of this, there's so much detail in here. It's so great. I think it's going to be great for everyone to go back and kind of rewatch this if you're planning on attending, so that you can organize yourself and get yourself ready to go. What I'm hearing though is to really do your due diligence and put your itinerary like on paper for yourself. and make sure that you're packing the appropriate things, that you're bringing like snacks and the right footwear and all of the things that are going to make the experience really comfortable for you. And if you can put an itinerary together for yourself, I think that's going to be really helpful and help you, do your best like on the ground there and hit everything you want to hit. So I just want to reiterate that you're going to post all of these slides to the Facebook group. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. So I just re-put that link in the chat, and we'll put that link under the recorded video on our YouTube page, just so that's there as well. Is that okay, Joan and Janet? Can we do that? Awesome. And yeah, so I think you basically answered questions that were happening in the chat over the course of that presentation. So if anyone has any questions that weren't answered, we can open the floor up to those questions. If you just want to raise your hand and we'll call on you. Alan.
Hey, thank you for everything. Very good information. The quick question we have is around pave diamonds. This is the first time we'll be thinking about coming to the show, and we're only going to do 2 days, maybe 3. So my wife is really interested in the pave. What area would be the best place to look for pave?
So are you talking about finished pave or for the stones?
Yes, finished and components.
Okay. So I would say your best bet is going to be AGTA show. They have and GJX across the street. So GJX and AGTA both have a China stone, which carries calibrated stones for melee, for doing pave. Then over at Pueblo Show, you're also going to find some of that there, especially if you go into like new era gyms. Last year I sent all my students there because they had a bucket in the back of the room that had all of their melee stones that were discounted, marked down. They weren't calibrated, but they were really nice. So you can find a number of things like that at those 2 shows. That would be most of the shows. The Holodome, now the Holodome has half of a tent that is dedicated to finished jewelry. And so you're going to find finished work there and finished work at AGTA and some finished work at Pueblo. But those would be the 3 shows that I would definitely hit for what you're looking for. The GJX show is very big. So you walk into the tent, and then there are these side tents that have just German dealers and just certain countries. So those are really good to go into also. And you're going to find some finished work there. And then you're also going to find loose stones there. But GJX has Rough Diamond World. They have really great vendors that have diamonds and melee. So that would be where I would go.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you,
And
Alan.
the AGTA show opens on the 30th. And just to give you guys some idea of what my strategy is, so in case you have this as a question, I start the 24th at Jogs because it's the first big show that I go to that opens. So that I'll be there on the 24th. The 25th is Pueblo, and 22nd Street opens that day. So I go to Pueblo, then I go over to 22nd Street. And then usually I have to go back to 22nd Street on another day because I can't finish up in a half of a day. Then GL&W opens up on the 27th, which is Saturday. And so that's a full day or a full weekend that you're going to be there. The Clay Revolution Party is that night on Sunday. And then Monday is kind of a free day. And then Tuesday is AGTA and GJX. And most of the people flying into the city will come in on Sunday so they can hit AGTA at GJX. And then it's kind of just like fitting in all the other shows around that, like Keno and things like that. So if that gives you some kind of strategy and you're here during that time period, you might want to think about hitting shows the day they open, because a lot of vendors sell their best stuff on the first day. I don't want to give you FOMO, but that is the case. So.
That's so great. I wrote that down. I got most of it, but maybe we can just get that order from you again for the show notes. Yeah, great. Okay, great. I'm going to say math, but I heard that you were Scottish, and so I quickly tried to figure out how to pronounce it. I read that you were Scottish, so forgive me if I'm mispronouncing.
Yeah, you got it right. I hope you can hear me. So I'm kind of fine with the shows. I've got the shows. I've never been to America, never been to Arizona, never been to Tucson. My question is about social. You say you've got the open house on the Monday. If you can't understand me, I do apologize.
I can understand.
Are there any other social events kicking off? Like you said, claymation, I think you said.
Yeah, that's
Anything like that, or any, because I
No.
literally know nobody within 3,000 miles. So I'm thinking, where can I go so I'm not just sitting on my own in a bar wondering what I'm doing 3,000 miles from home.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of like, here's a gathering, or here's like, like you would do at GJX. There's when you go to Vegas, there's like a whole bunch of events that are going on. This is such a weird show because it's all over town and people come and do their own thing, that there's really not like these gatherings or things. People will say, well, I'm going to this, place to drink or whatever. So what I'll do is I'll start a post in the Tucson Gem Show happenings page for people to post when they're having get-togethers, because I know like Lucy Walker's having a get-together one night that you can go and meet her at I think it's a pizza place. So there are places that people are trying to start like little get-togethers. And I know a lot of people who take classes at Vivi Magoo at La Paloma will hang out in the bar at night. So it's pretty full there and they're all chatting, but usually they're not chatting with people they don't know, they're chatting with people they already know. So there's not a lot of that going on at the Tucson Gem Show. So you just kind of have to make your way and meet people, and don't be afraid to talk to other people or vendors, especially because vendors usually are in the know and they know where little things are happening. But I will post in the group, and if I forget, remind me, because that'd be a great way to have some information passed along. I haven't posted my open house in there because I don't want 9,000 people coming to my house, but just because I can't fit them all in my neighborhood. But so there are little things going on like that. And I thought I would mention it here because there's probably only going to be a few people that actually come to it from this meeting. Hopefully they don't see it on YouTube and want to go. But anyway, I think we'll figure out something in that group of a way to connect people who want to meet other people.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, Sandra. Sandra, do you have a question? You can unmute yourself and ask the question if you'd like. No? Okay, Alia, do we want to jump to Alia and then we'll come back to Sandra if you can figure it out? Okay, great.
Yes, thank you. I actually wanted to respond to Matt. I am traveling with my husband, who is also going to be anyway stuck in a box. So if you would like to have someone to have a beer with, we are a European family, although we live in the United States. We would be more than happy to hang out with you. So if you feel comfortable, reach out to me on Facebook. He's going to be doing really nothing, but he's always looking for a buddy to hang out with. So you don't feel lonely coming from Europe. We can make Europe happening for you in Tucson.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I can't see who's speaking though, so I can't add you. Who was that speaking?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is Olia.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Ukrainian, so this is, you can get any more European than that. And also, I see there is a post in chat from, I think it's from Sandra or Jennifer. Somebody's looking to have some group get together. I am personally down for that because I really don't want to hang out with my husband. So if we can start something on Facebook. If Tonya, I don't know if you will be facilitating that or if it's okay to just make it. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
So to keep the group clean, so a lot of people try to post to the group. Unfortunately, 90% of the posts are people trying to sell their cabs and stuff. So those automatically get deleted and banned from the group. So because it's not a selling group, it's a group to help everybody crowd source their goods and their experience at the Tucson Gem Show. So it's not about selling. So I really don't allow sellers on there at all. And so when you post something hoping that it'll get onto the group, it usually doesn't make it. What I do is I take that idea. So if you go in and you say, I'd like to know where to find, freshwater pearls, I won't actually approve that post, but what I'll do is make a graphic and I'll post it saying, let's crowdsource freshwater pearls. And so everybody then can comment underneath it. So what I'll do is with this group events or group gatherings, I'll make a graphic for it. And then you guys can go in and in the comments, connect, share your ideas, share places, even during the show, and then go back and visit it. So just learn how to search the group.
This is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Okay, Jessica.
Yeah, this was a comment actually that was in the chat, but I thought it was a good one. They were asking what you look for in the stone vendor and how you can tell a good stone from a bad stone.
Again, so you need to know what you pay for those stones normally. So we know what a good deal is per carat. Have an idea for what you would normally stock or look for, and then you need to bring a loupe for sure because it's hard to see. There's some really interesting people that are at these shows. Like I buy these color shifting green garnets from a sheikh. So when I wrote out my check, because he took checks, I had to write it out to this sheikh, and I thought that was really interesting. So you're going to meet all sorts of people that come directly from the mines. There's no middlemen, and they're selling their stuff that they normally would sell to somebody else. So you need to be educated on what to look for, for especially doublets or dyed stones. That's going to come down to looking at the vendor and maybe walking around doing some research to find out if take their card and find out if they're reputable. And then being educated on the stones themselves. That's really up to you. It's buyer beware at your risk. I have gotten taken many times by, where I thought I was buying a stone and I got a doublet that was glass or a chip stone, things that are hidden that you don't know about. So you really take your time, and it's hard to do at the show because you're in a hurry. The lighting isn't good, you're cold, whatever. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have like a percentage of your purchases that probably are remorseful purchases, but that's just what you get when you come to a show like this. But you are saving a lot of money. So on your purchases, that's the good thing.
And do you have any vendors, like you said, you had one that you recommended for stones?
Oh, I have a ton of stone dealers that I love. So when we post these things, like somebody says they're looking for turquoise, if I wait for people to comment, and if they don't list somebody that I really like, I'll go in and comment. So you can look for those. So it's really up to the group, the people in there, to ask the questions. And I will then try to crowdfund the information because a lot of people have better ideas than I do. I mean, I have friends who are stone experts, GIA, that they'll say, no, don't, go to this dealer, go to that dealer. So it's really great. It's a great place to crowd share all that information.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica. Okay, Sandra can't unmute herself, so I'm going to ask her question for her. She's wondering if there are any vendors that sell silver sheet or wire.
No, not very many. You might find some that sell wire. So the casino show, for example, is very hobby oriented. It's going to have metal clay, lots of beads, like seed beads, strung beads, knitting, yarn, things like that at the casino, which is pretty far away. It's at least 30 to 45 minutes from downtown, depending upon when you go, because there's a lot of traffic out that way now. Because everything in Tucson has grown so much and we have so many visitors, and you add the Tucson visitors and it's just, the traffic is amazing. So you really want to decide which shows you want to go to. So that's like, if you're looking for that kind of thing, I would definitely hit that show. It just depends on what you're looking for. So what you could do when you post like a question to the group, make it a single question. Don't like lump in like 10 things that you're looking for, because if you can add as many as you want and I'll post them in separate ones, but it helps me to keep them separated and it helps keep the page very organized that we don't let any extra stuff in. So it's easy for people to search and find it. And then you can just go up and search for that term and find it. I'm not sure that I answered your question. Hopefully. Or repeat
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did. Now I have one other question. So if you, the bigger shows that you identified as the wholesale shows that you have to pre-register for or register when you get there. If you don't have a wholesale license number, if you're not a wholesaler and you're just a hobbyist, can you still get into those shows, or is that part of it separated out? No. So you cannot go to Holodome, AGTA, jogs. You can't go to those shows.
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So we'll note that on your schedule. We'll connect with
There's
you to
only
get your-
4, just those
There's
4
good.
shows you can't go to.
Got it. Okay.
There's 42
Name
other
those
shows.
one
you
more
can go
time.
to.
Name those one more time.
Sure. Jogs, the first one that opens up, that's registration.
Mm-hmm.
GL&W, which is Holodome and Gym Mall shows. They've been at like 5 different locations in Tucson over the last 30 years, but they've been at that location for maybe 10 years. It's 4 tents. They require it. AGTA and GJX, which is across the street. So those 2 shows have the same days, the GJX and AGTA, and you're just walking basically across the street to go to the other one. They both require, and those are the higher end shows. So AGTA and GJX are like the pinnacle show of high end diamonds, rubies, you know, all the stones, things that like the best turquoise, the best fossil stones, cabs, you know, things that unusual palm root, things like that, that you don't see everywhere else. That's going to be at AGTA and GJX. You're going to find interesting things like at GJX, there's an Italian leather dealer and there's a small Japanese tool dealer there. There's just really interesting little booths too that you just have to walk around to find. There's Boulder opals that they do, this booth sells them pretty inexpensively, and there's just people like standing around the booth, 3 people deep trying to dig through these buckets because they're such a good deal. So it's an amazing experience. Don't get overwhelmed. Just go and take it all in, enjoy it. Don't worry about FOMO or missing out. There's so much to buy. You'll never go home with extra money left over. I can guarantee it.
Amazing. Okay. I feel like that is it. If anyone has another question, feel free to raise your hand, but I'm going to a budget. What she means by budgeting for yourself is that you should decide how much money you want to spend before you get on the airplane or in your car to go there, and try not to spend more than that. That's what a budget is.
Yes, exactly.
Just for the sake of your pocket, your finances. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to introduce Janet Dickinson, our president of MAG, and she's going to run that quick raffle for us for fun at the end of this event. Thank you so much, Tonya, for everything. You're amazing. All this material is amazing. Again, her Facebook page is going to have all this information, and you'll see this video on our YouTube page.
Thank you.
Janet.
Thank you so much, Tonya and Amanda. You guys are awesome. Everyone, MAG is a nonprofit 501c3. We are all run by volunteers, so we really appreciate your support. I'm going to share my screen here, and let's see if we can get this thing up. Where did it go? Here it is, not this. Oh, I had this all organized. Where did it go? Shoot.
The wonders of technology.
It is here somewhere. That is so crazy. All right. Everyone just talk amongst yourselves for a second here while I figure this out.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, here we go. Can you guys see this?
Okay. Well, not yet, no.
You can't see it? Oh, let's see. Wonder why. Back to Zoom here. And you guys don't see this spinning screen?
No.
Huh.
Did you hit share screen at the bottom?
I did. Let me just try again. Oh. I'm brand
Well,
new.
we trust you. We trust
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Jen.
you know.
Go ahead and you can run the
I'm just
route
gonna
and-
announce
yeah.
it because I can
Okay.
see it and I don't know why I can't share it with you. I have a brand new MacBook Pro, everyone. I've been a PC girl for years, so I'm feeling the pain here. But I just go ahead and spin. It's got all
So
these.
this is for the
everyone's-
apron or the towel?
This is going to be for the towel first.
Great.
It's showing up here in a second. Congratulations, Toby Carell. Are you on the call? Toby Carell? Well, I'm going to go ahead and spin again. What do you guys think? We'll spin again. Caroline Christine, are you on the call? If not, I'll try one more time for this person for the first prize, and then we'll just find the person and email them back.
Great.
All right. I'm so sorry you guys can't see this. It's really cool. All right. Let's see.
One last spin for the
How
towel.
about Markham, Nancy Markham?
Oh,
Nancy Markham. Okay, well, Nancy wins the towel, and I will send her an email.
Nice.
Okay. And this next one is going to be for a mag apron.
While she's spinning, someone's looking to upgrade tools. Any suggestions on dealers or shows, Tonya?
the only tool dealers are going to be at Snag at the new show at the Cathedral, Pueblo. There will be some tools at the casino, but that's really it. There aren't a lot of tool dealers.
No problem. Thank you. All right, Janet.
Crystal Heibach, are you on the call? Oh, they're going to be so sad. Okay, sorry, Crystal. All right, next one. Here we go. This is so amazing. There's so many names on here. You cannot see them until it lands on this tiny little line and then pops up the name. Selma Ta. Selma Ta. See, it pays to actually be on the call, you guys. All right, one more time. And this, in case you guys ever need to use this, it's called Old Wheel of Names. Brianna Halverson. All right. Brianna
Okay.
is Brianna on the call? Well, all right. I'm going to send it to Brianna. We're just going to get her contact information.
Awesome. I'm just going to wrap it up quickly by saying one more time, because there's some questions that didn't get answered in the chat, that all this information is going to be on Tonya's Facebook group. And those links are in the chat. We'll put the link under the post when we put this video on YouTube. And that information is reiterated over and over again, like where to find the best cabochons. Like she's crowdsourcing that information from all of her followers and putting it together for you in an easily searchable situation, which is awesome. Tonya, do you have anything else that you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yes, when you ask questions about where to find something, be specific. Don't say, I'm looking for strands of precious beads, which I just saw that question come through. Every single show will have strands of beads. So it's really nice to be specific. I'm looking for fluorite, or I'm looking for whatever it is that you're looking for. I'm looking for Montana sapphires, not just sapphires. Be really specific, be specific about shape and sizes. And even price points is good to be specific, because there is a lot. I mean, if you say where's the best place to get cabochons, I'm going to tell you every single show, because that's the truth. There are good cabs at every show. There are good strands of beads at every show. So just, but there are places where there are like hidden gems of turquoise dealers that you will want to hit because they have really good stuff. So just be specific with your questions, and then make them individual questions. Don't lump a bunch of stuff into one question.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Tonya, again, for all of this valuable information and for being just a bright light and a gem yourself. If you're going to Tucson this year, enjoy yourself, have fun, be safe. And if you're not a member of MAG and want to be, please join us. We would love to have you.
Please support MAG. They are doing an amazing job of bringing online classes to everybody and in person and expanding. And they have great teachers and they're led by great volunteers. So I'm so appreciative to be asked to do this and to also be one of their teachers. So thank you to MAG for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you.
Well, we're lucky to have you, Tonya. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. And if anyone who's going to Tucson, Joan and I will be there. So hope to see you.
Come find us.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.